Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. It's your girl Maria Milagros here. Happy August. And during the month of August, the theme at Super Sparkly Everything is all about embracing change. And the reason why I chose this topic is because it's been the subject of a lot of conversations lately, talking to people about change that's happening in their lives and how they're having a hard time adjusting or dealing with change. And so instead of saying adjusting or dealing with change, I want to call it embracing change, because the reality is that in life, change is inevitable. It is going to happen. It isn't a part of life. It is life. If you think about yourself, you're always changing and evolving. The things that you do that are fun change and evolve. The things that you do for work, the relationships that you have, constant, continuous change. It's what keeps us growing and evolving. So it's a natural part of life. And once we really kind of get a hold of that, then it seems like change becomes easier. Not that it was ever really hard. It was just new, and new is a process, and new takes time. So it does become easier when we change the way that we perceive change. So change in and of itself isn't good or bad. It's not negative or positive. It's not right or wrong. It just is. And when we allow it to be what it is, then we can see it really for what it is. So sometimes when change happens, people will say, oh, that thing is so bad because, but is it really bad because? And then when we really kind of dissect it and sit it there in its pure form, the change, they go, oh, that's not that crazy. I've been through something similar and it was fine. Because part of, again, of dealing with change is how we perceive it. So if we perceive it as being negative or wrong or bad, then it's going to feel heavy and burdensome, and we're going to feel stressed out about it. If we perceive change as being good and opportunity and adventure, imagine how different our life would be. We could see change and say, oh, that's an opportunity to tap into my resources and my gifts. That's an opportunity to tap into my community. That's an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z, or that's an opportunity to walk away. Sometimes that's an opportunity to just do that and to be okay with walking away. Our lives in and of themselves are proof that we are well practiced and capable of dealing with change. And we need to remind ourselves of that regularly so that we can remember how capable we are. If we think about our lives up to this moment, we have dealt with different relationships, like I said, different jobs, different opportunities, different things, moving from place to place. And we survived, which means change in and of itself isn't detrimental, because if it was, we wouldn't be here. So if we look at it in that way, it becomes a little less burdensome, a little lighter. Imagine if we began, again, to acknowledge change as an opportunity or adventure. Like, how different would our lives be if we did it that way instead? And instead of using the word hard, we could start using the word new, because change in and of itself is just new, and new takes time because new is a process. It doesn't have to be hard. And when we use the word new instead of the word hard, it does something different in our brain, and then our bodies respond differently. Just like if we face something that's new and if we perceive it as scary, then our body and our brain says, oh, this is scary, and it changes what happens in our brain, the stress levels that occur in our body and in our brain. But if we say this is exciting, something completely different happens in the body and in the brain, and then we perceive it as exciting and it feels fun. So the words that we use to describe things are really powerful, and we want to make sure that we're keeping that in mind. So whether we are intentional or ignorantly participating with change, and I don't mean the word ignorantly like you're ignorant, I mean it like we're not really intentional, we're not paying attention to how we're participating with change. So whether or not we are participating intentionally or not, we're participating. And we get to choose to what level. So we could say we're participating, and in this case, I'm a victim. Oh, this thing changed and now I'm a victim. We could say I'm participating and I'm the benefactor. Like, I'm benefiting from this change. We could say I'm participating in this change to the degree that I'm going to help create this change. I'm going to really fully participate. We get to decide. And the level by which we choose to participate with change, again, changes how we respond to it, changes whether or not it's stressful. And this could be with something really small, like Facebook changes its platform, and then people freak out. What are you freaking out about? It's different. You complaining about it isn't going to make it go back to the way that it was. And in a week, you're going to be fully adjusted and you'll be fine. Or sometimes change is a much larger thing, like the loss of someone that you love. And again, even in that, when we look at it for what it is. When someone dies, they're not gone forever. They're always with us, and we have memories that we can hold on to. And that change can be a little bit harder or really a little bit newer, right? And then it just takes some time and some adjusting, and we give ourselves the room, remembering again that we're capable and we're survivors. We're going to be okay. So how we perceive change is really important. So I have 3 quick tips for you. One is to really start thinking about how you perceive change. When something really small or really big happens and it creates a change in your life, are you perceiving it as detrimental, or are you perceiving it as an opportunity and a blessing? 2, make sure that you're taking time to step back and to breathe. Step away from the thing that is change and give yourself a moment, literally, to just breathe. Because when you're in the midst of it and your brain starts going and you start with all these thoughts and stuff, you're not really looking at it for what it is. When you step away from it and you give yourself the time to just center yourself with some breathing, it helps you to really look at the issue or the change for what it is. And then the 3rd tip is to honestly look at it for what it is. Don't add a bunch of stuff to it. Don't label it. Don't call it this or that. Don't decide that it's good or bad or it's going to destroy the rest of your life. Just look at it for what it is. And when you do, and almost look at it as if you're looking at it through someone else's perspective, like someone else told you about this thing, how would you, from a positive stance, say, this is not the worst thing ever? Because sometimes when we separate ourselves from it, it helps us see it for what it really is. When we're in it, we can't really fully see it. So those are my 3 tips. 1 is to change the way that we're perceiving it, to pay attention to that. 2 is to just take time to breathe when change does occur. Step away from it. Put it away from your mind for a second and just focus on some breathing, because it's really meditative and it really helps you clear your thoughts. And then 3, to really give yourself the opportunity to see it as if someone else is telling you about it, so that you can see it for what it is. Because then chances are it won't be so detrimental or so life-altering. Although everything is life-altering, because change helps us evolve and grow, and every time we evolve and grow, it's altering our lives. Blah, blah, blah. You get where I'm going. Okay, so that's where I'm going to start with this discussion around change. So I would love it if you could, in the comments below, if you have a change that you've dealt with recently that you're not really sure how to process, and you want myself or someone in our community to help you process that, put it in the comments below. You could send me an email also. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you know someone who can benefit from it, go ahead and share it, because sharing is caring. And really, the more that we have these conversations about perception, the more that we can alter our reality to make it more positive and more super sparkly everything, right? If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you can get one of these in your inbox every week. And that way we can continue to help each other grow and learn and evolve and change, because change is inevitable and change is actually good, because it's going to come anyway. So we might as well call it good and have a positive perspective about it. So that's what I have for you. I hope that this upcoming week is filled with lots of fun changes that you're able to deal with and process in a positive way. And again, give yourself room, be kind to yourself, because it does take time. If you've been living for 30, 40, 50 years looking at change or being taught that change is detrimental or it's negative, it's going to take some time for you to start changing the way that you perceive it and process it. So give yourself that room. Be kind to yourself. Okay, that's all I have for you. I hope that you have a great rest of your week and a fantastic, super sparkly weekend. Love you. Bye.